Okay, my friends, another shocker du jour. They just keep coming. We're going to be discussing this and that right now. Okay, my friends, once again, shocker du jour from the home of the shocker du jour, Mudfossil University, Roger, your host. What do we see here? Well, looks like some kind of a mountain. It's a very unusual pattern. You see these stripes coming up, and all of a sudden an abrupt transition right there. And what are all these little holes doing? And then that bump coming straight up with all of these little flaps coming together. Very strange. Let's dig in a little deeper. Look at that. Look at that. And believe me, this down to this layer is about 30 feet. It's just enormously thick, these slabs, and they are in slabs. Now, that's kind of interesting. And this abrupt transition is quite interesting. And what are these things doing here? These little holes and this little black spot in the middle and all these little holes around it. And these little blocky looking things here. Oh boy, this is strange. And then everything comes together at a point in the front. That is very interesting. And this is just absolutely enormous. And the fellow that was doing this said this is the most curious thing that they found. What could have caused this? Well, I think I know what caused it. And I think I have something very similar to this in my shop in micro. And I will show you. I believe this is a new discovery. I won't say exactly what it is now, but you'll see in a second what it is. But it's a new discovery of something that previously had never been known. And, you know, this gets a little deep. So let's just look at what we got. Okay, get ready for this. What I'm going to be doing is pointing to this, and then I'm going to go down to the shot of the big piece. These are the two spots where the fascia comes together here and the two fluids go into the next organ. I'll explain that in some great detail because this is extremely important. It's unknown to medical science. This whole thing is unknown. I call it the Spurlock. Now notice this, all of these pieces coming together and the two holes here. Now, I'm going to show you a giant thing on Earth. Don't go crazy until you take a look at what I'm showing. Don't jump to any conclusions. I say this is virtually the same little bump as the one up above. Now, this right here appears to be, it could be the two holes at the end, but I don't know. They might be obscured and over the out because they're right on the very tip, and this may go over that and have the dots on the out, and you can't see them. But I looked, and I think that might be one right here and one right here. I don't know for sure because this is tipped back. Mine is tipped over. Now, what else do we see here that I see in my shot? Well, what is all this stuff? What the heck is that? There's one really gnarly spot in the center, and then there's all these little round things here. What's going on there? Well, I have the same thing on mine, and I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to probably have to turn the light up a little bit so you can see it better. But I turn the light way down so you can see easily the detail. And don't forget, that's where the transfer of fluids goes. That is very, very important. Now, I'm going to come back on my Spurlock. Now, I have a little water on there. Hold on, let me dry that up a little bit. It's always good to put a little bit of moisture on them. Let me turn the lights up a smidge. All right, so now here we go. There's the tip at the very end. And there's the two dots. Boom, boom. Now, we're coming back with this very, very, very strappy, heavy-duty fascia. And then it comes right to here to the Spurlock, which is, well, it's still kind of wet. It doesn't matter, you can see it fine. There's a whole batch of little balls around here. You don't see them in this one because the fascia is extremely in good tact. But they're around here, and that's the center core. right? So that's on mine, and then you come back further and you hit these abrupt transitions. Now mine are not as abrupt as the one you're going to see, but they're pretty abrupt. And then you keep going back from there and you get into actual meat of the body part, and you can see this is pretty meaty. Look at this. You put some water on it, that's literally blood starting to come out of there. As soon as you put the water on, red blood rehydrates instantly. Look at this. That thing's just leaking blood out of there right now almost. Huh. If you don't think that's biology, I don't know what you're thinking. No, you can't see that, and you can't see blood in rocks. Absolutely. Yes, you can. Now let's turn the lights up a little brighter. Now you see all these strappy little fibers in there? That's the tough stuff. And that's what locks this thing into the body. And it locks it in right there. Boom. So what are we looking at right there? That spot right there. And all these little spots around it are exactly that spot right there, and all these little spots around it. It even has the same cracks going into it. And that's the same, look at the dark spot. It's got the same cracks going right through it. It's identical, no difference whatsoever. None. That's something. So now this is a brand new body part. Nobody knows about this except me and you now. So what did we just look at? We just looked at this right here. These are all the little fibers coming together. This is this big flap here, and that is the latch. This right here is this right here. That little spot I showed you is right there, is there. So we go from here forward to that. Now, is the two little spots here? I don't know. I don't have a better shot of this. The guys that did this were, I forget who it was, but I'll try to find who actually showed this shot and said it was the most interesting thing they had found. Most curious to find was this thing. They couldn't explain it. And it's not explainable through geology. You can't explain this in geology. Why is there abrupt transition here? Why are these big straps coming down here? What are these little dots here? Why is this prominence here? And all of these flaps coming together here? Well, it's because it's the same thing as this, which is biology, which is a piece of meat. These abrupt transitions, this also at one time was tendon. Now you see this break right here? That's about 30 feet thick between here and going down. And they're all in layers, just as this is in layers. You should be able to see this. You see the layers? I don't know if you can or not, but it's all layered out here. And this at one time was tendon. And that is the abrupt transition right there. You see it? That's the abrupt transition. And what is this stuff? That's the glue right there. That's the same glue. It's this stuff here. It glues these into the abrupt transition. The abrupt transition just doesn't stick there for no reason. This is the glue. I'm not kidding you. I swear, this is no doubt whatsoever about this. And these are the tendons. If you can see the little fibrils coming, and that's all. They're in layers like this, and it makes it tough as hell. When they come together at the end like that, you just can't break that. It's not going to go anywhere. But it has to transfer its fluids into the next organ that it comes to, and it does it through the tips of these little spurlocks coming right out of here. This is it right here. Boom, 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 boom. Fluids go out. This is completely encased in whatever this was, because it encases muscles and organs and tendons and everything. Everything in your body has to lock together, and that's the lock. organ to organ, to muscle, to tendon, to bone. There's a lock. And I can show you on this bone, it has the same spurlock. It's right over here. You see this? You might not be able to see this. There's a thing coming here and a thing coming here. You see? I don't know if you can see those little triangular spots. You got to get it in the right light, and the water helps. It comes here and here, and right there is the spurlock. This is fabric that wraps everything in your body. This is a bone, and it's wrapped with a fabric. The whole thing is in a membrane. It has to be sealed in its own membrane, and these are where the membrane comes together, and that right there is the spurlock. You see all the little holes there? Same as this. Snap! And that's it. These are glued together. They're literally glued, and nothing can penetrate this. This was a bone, and it's a nucleophilic invasion and substitution turned into a mudstone. And there is a taste of bone right there. And I should show you this in a microscope. I got the microscope cooking, so we will look at that. As a matter of fact, I better do it now, because I always forget. Okay, there's the bone, and it's in the microscope, and we're looking at it right now, and there's just the tiniest taste of bone left. Let me back up here. Now, where is that bone? Well, there's the bone right there. I'll put a little water on it, you can see it better. There's little scraps of bone sticking here and there. You can see the little... Now, this is the casing around the bone. This was where the marrow was inside, and it just transitions because it's being invaded by whatever it was encased in, which could have been metals or whatever it was. And there's different solutions. There's pH changes, there's salts, there's silicates, but this is actually bone. Now I'm going to put a little bit of water on it, and we'll take a look at it again in a second. All right, it's drying out right now. That's the bone right there. You see, the rest of this stuff has been invaded and turned into mudstone. All right, but there's a little bit of bone here, a little bit of bone left here, little scraps here and there. All right, now let me turn off the lights. You see it? That's bone. That's bone. And the rest is just transitioned. All right, now the edges of the... Right here is the edge of the bone, which is, you know, pretty calcified. You can see it's a different border. Let me dry that a little better. Hold on. All right, let me turn the light down a little bit so that we get a little contrast going on. All right, so here's what we got is the bone edge. Then we go into what change. I mean, there's a ton of blood in here, and that's what causes, you know, fossil fuels, actually. Over the course of time and compression and degradation, they start to create methane gases, and then they start to create actual gases, oils and so forth. And that's what this is. If this was, well, anyway, that's not important to talk about right now. But anyway, this is down inside this bone. And this is what it is. Now, I told you I could show you the Spurlock, and I'll show you the Spurlock on this bone. Hold on. All right, I'm hoping you can see this. First of all, you know, this is the bone. All right, this is the cartilage, and it's all preserved flawlessly. And you have, I believe these are vein and artery, or they might be nerves. I'm not even sure, to be honest with you. Now, this is the Spurlock. All right, so here's the bone. That bone would have come from here down, zip, straight down. So it broke right there. Now, the whole bone was wrapped with a fabric. Now, whether you can see this or not, I don't know. I never can tell. don't think you're going to be able to see this, but well, let's see. There's a line going up this way and one coming over this way. And then they hit right there, and that's where the Spurlock is. You got to get it just in the right light to see all of these features, but maybe when I put it in a microscope it'll be more evident. But the whole key here is it comes in this way and in this way, and then right there is all the balls that lock this fabric into here. It's like a crescent roll, I call it. Like, see it right, coming here and come in here, and then right there is where all the balls are. You see the little holes? I can see that, and I don't know if you can see that or not. That line and this line come together and lock in right there. And that wraps the whole entire bone in its membrane. It's just what it is. I mean, I didn't make the rules. It just happens this way. This is beyond my wildest expectations. I learn something new every day. I've been talking about this flap here, the Spurlock, on the bones, on what they call the tunica, the wrapping of the bones. And here's where those balls come together, right at the end. You see this shiny looking stuff? Tough, tough, tough as hell. This is the real latch at the end. Well, guess what? Where do you see what's over here? Because every tunica has to pass its membrane juices, its lymph fluids, into the next organ or wherever this attaches to the next lymph. Why do you see this? Wait until you see this as I turn up the lights. It shocked the hell out of me. Look at this. There is the two little lymph ducts right there. There they are. Right next to this gnarly lock-in. These, as far as I'm concerned, this is where the lymph is flowing. You see coming right out of here, that little, whether it's going this way or going that way, I don't know. But these are those two little spots. I was just gobsmacked when I saw that. I said, whoa, that's the tip of the Spurlock. And there is the two I don't know, I'm going to have to come up with a name for those. But it's at the tip of the Spurlock. There'll be two little spots. And it's in all of the Spurlocks that I have found. All of them, every one of them. So they're passing juices from one fluid-filled highway into the other one through these two little spots. I'm telling you, I'm flipping out. I can't believe this. I'm going to back the scope way up off of here so you can see how this plays out. I got to obviously home it back in again. No, that's not going to help. Well, maybe it will. You see the two lines? Yeah, actually that's okay. That's not bad. Let me focus in a little better. All right. That's not bad at all. All right. This is where the tunica wraps together. This shiny little area here is where the latches are. These little balls latch in. And right there was where I'm claiming that the fluids pass from one fascia area to the next through those two little spots. Shocked me, completely shocked me. And this is the tip of the bone. Let me just bring you down here and show you. Well, this is really obvious now. You can see the tunica wraps around. I call it the crescent roll wrap. You ever see them on TV? They roll up the crescent rolls and the Pillsbury Doughboy. Well, this is it right here, and it locks right in there with those balls. And this is where the fluids are passing. It has to be. The fluids have to move from one to the other, and the fluids are specific to the body part. You get bone cancer, it's because something invaded this particular membrane. You get kidney cancer, it's because something invaded that one. You get lung cancer, somebody invaded that. It's all different chemistry. And the chemistry passes through here, and at that point it has to adjust itself somehow. This is where I'm having a hard time understanding, but it does seem to be intelligent because it can come together in mass, these fluids, intelligently to attack invaders. That's what your lymph does. It attacks invaders that are trying to get through this layer. All right, now I know the resistance to this is astronomical, but it just happens to be true. And this is the Spurlock. And you can see all these layers flapping across each other, just as they do here. And then the Spurlock latch, which is right here. This tip has the two little, I think there's two little spots there. Now, I don't know. I need somebody, if they could, go back up here with a drone, go above to see if you can find two spots at the tip. And that, I mean, they're going to be there. I can guarantee you that. And there's no question whatsoever in my mind. This is what it looks like. It is a Spurlock. And this is all new to medicine. They don't have any idea about this. And geology is got to be completely revamped. I mean, it's just completely not real. Because these are body parts. The earth is made of creatures' bodies, exactly like the ancient text said. 100% of them said the same thing. All right, this is the head of a long bone. The bone would have come, you know, I don't know how long it was, but it was what they call a long bone. Now, you see these holes that are on the sides of the bone? They call them bone foramen. And blood vessels and nerves, run through these into the bone. Now, on the tips of the bones, they have these holes. Same sort of stuff, nerves and blood vessels and so forth. And this right here is the cartilage. You see that layer right there? That's the cartilage that sits on top of that bone so that it can rock smoothly to the next bone. Now, this is highly unusual to have it all together in one piece. Usually the plate comes off and you're down to just a rounded like looking bone. And I have some of those here too. But now on the inside, I either showed you or will show you that there is still some bone here. And it's quite apparent what's going on here once you understand it. And I also showed the Spurlock on this, where it latches together with that triangle right there. And then right that little dimple right there at the very end is where it really locks in solid. But this is a wrapping. The whole thing is wrapped up in its own tunica. And this is how it transfers fluids in and out. That's the key to this whole thing. Because even on a Spurlock that's on here, there is these two little spots right there. You see those two little dots? That's where the fluids transfer, right at the end of the Spurlock. Right there. See how that shiny looking spot right there? That's the Spurlock, and coming right down that channel into those two tubes are where the lymph fluid passes. This is brand new stuff. I'm having a hard time finding, there it is. This is all brand new anatomy. I discovered the interstitium, which it led me to this discovery. So, you know, you got to keep digging and digging and digging. You keep finding more and more and more. All right, just so you know that this is what chat says about it. It says the two holes at the ends of long bones are referred to as the nutrient formia. These are small openings, allow blood vessels and nerves to enter the bone. All right. They play a crucial role in delivering nutrients and oxygen to the bone tissue, which is essential for growth, repair, and metabolic activities. So they're going through here. This is the end of the long bones. It's anyway. The nutrient formula in the long bones, then it tells about the proximal end, the distal end, and so forth. Now, this is about what I'm doing. Oh, okay, but Roger Spur's bone formula. I don't know what that means, but this is ChatGPT. I didn't put this in, and I didn't even see this. Roger Spur has proposed unconventional interpretations of bone structures and fossilization processes. Bone formula. I never said that ever. Focuses on the unique geometries of bones, particularly long bones, and their role in both living organisms and potential fossilization. He suggests that the nutrient formula these little bone holes, might have specific patterns or alignments significant in the fossilization process. Well, yes, in a way. However, his exact formula, I never said anything about a formula, is more speculative and ties into his broader theories about fossilization mud fossils. That I never said anything about formulas. Well, anyway, they understand that I say, well, hold on a second. I'm going to ask it some more questions. Hold on. All right, this is AI again. In 2015, Roger Spurr introduced the concept of fascia-facilitated fossilization, emphasizing the role of fascia, which is the coating of all the organs and membranes, muscle tissue. It's all that fine coating. It's your membranes. He described fascia as a tubular, fluid-filled fabric network. It is. It's a fluid-filled fabric network that rapidly reconfigures itself when damaged or stretched. It's just really unbelievably interactive. Suggesting it functions similar to a fluid-filled highway within the body. Yes, it is. But at every intersection between organs, it has to change its chemistry. It has to. A lung does not have the same chemistry in it as your stomach. The fascia that coats your stomach, it cannot be the same chemistry as the fascia that coats your lung. It just doesn't make sense. So anyway, I say that it's a fluid-filled fabric network, rapidly reconfigures itself, suggesting its function similar to a fluid-filled highway within the body. Perspective highlights fascia's dynamic nature, and its potential role in both living organizations and fossilization process. Well, yes, I primarily started for fossils. And in 2018, researchers identified the interstitium as a network of fluid-filled spaces throughout the body, proposing it as a new organ. And that's not me. A guy in New York University published basically the same paper I published, saying that it was a fluid-filled highway with spaces through the body, proposing it as a new organ. The discovery aligns with Spurr's earlier description of fascia fluid-filled characteristic, underscoring the interconnectedness of body tissues and the importance of fluid dynamics in human anatomy. So I had the whole thing down pat in 2015. They agree it's a new human organ. Now they have to look at the Spurlock, because that's the tip of the fascia fluid highway, and it has to change fluids. This meat is not going to have the same fluid surrounding it as your stomach. I don't think. I would like to see if they can do some tests on the chemistry that's in the fascia fluid bags, and from autopsies and so forth, but I'm looking to see if I can find somebody to do this. I'm not getting any success. But what we need to do is find it. Does the fluid change? I can tell you those two little dots are the only way that fluid's getting into that next bag. As far as I'm concerned, I could be wrong, but I don't think so. All right, I'm going to pretty much wrap it up at this, but the whole key to what I've been talking about here is fascia and the fluid-filled network and the division between different membranes. Now, think about cancer. Every cancer is an invasion through the membrane, and then it grows a tumor in that hole through that membrane, and it starts feeding on you through that hole through the membrane. If it can't get through the membrane, it doesn't start. Cancer is a complex group of diseases, so many types, because cancer can arise in almost any type of cell in the body. And that's because every cell in the body has its own protective barrier, which is its membrane. And when they say cell, we're talking every organ has a cancer. Every organ. You get cancer of anything. And there's over 100 types of cancers of different organs and tissues and bones and cell, blood cancer and, every type of cancer, just skin cancer, brain cancer, everything. So, in my opinion, everything that we're looking at relates to the fluid-filled highway and how to protect that layer and what does protect that layer. And I do understand what does protect that layer, and it's enzymes. So we got a lot of thinking to do, and I'd like to talk to people that have some influence over how we do these things, which I cannot seem to get through to anybody that has any influence of anything. They don't want to talk because it changes a lot that they have been saying. It's it's discouraging. All right, I love you all. See what you can do. See if we can get to President Trump and we can get some of this stuff understood, and not just this. I mean, it's everything right across the board. So, and I'd like to be able to be involved in an alternative education regime. That's all. You could teach mainstream. I have no problem with that. Teach it all you want. But then look at my stuff, and then you make your own decision. All right, I love you all. Thanks. President Trump, Elon Musk, I'm looking to you guys to make this change. I'm hoping it's going to happen. That's what you're talking about. And this will make a huge, huge, huge impact on every single thing in our lives, in this society, everything. Medicine, technology, the whole thing. All right, and Elon, I have possible way of getting some electricity for you. Let's talk, all right? Again, I still love y'all. All right, take care, bye.